Om Shri Vakratunda Mahakaya Surya Koti Samaprabha Nirvighnam Kuru Me Devam Sarva Karyeshu Sarvada. Today I'm going to talk about Sri Ganesha. Who has a big, massive body, big stomach, a curving curving trunk, Vakratunda Mahakaya, Surya Koti Samaprabha, is bright as 1,000 suns. Nirvighnam kuru me devam sarva karyeshu sarvada. Make me free of all obstacles, make me free of all problems forever. This is a general invocation to Ganesha. So before we talk about talk a little more about Ganesha. Who is Ganesha? Why is he important? Ganesha is one of the oldest gods to be worshipped, and we find images of Ganesha not just in old Hindu temples and caves, but we find images of Ganesha in old Buddhist and Jaina caves as well. So he's a very old god. Hindus worship him as Vigneshwar, so the remover of obstacle. So, which is why Hindus worship him before starting any task. Now, this is true whether when you are talking of a worldly task. For example, if I want to make a new building or make a new house, if I want to start a new project, if I want to open a new shop, then I worship Ganesha. Businessmen worship Ganesha because Ganesha has a pot belly, because Ganesha is holding hand. So in one hand he's holding a sweet. He's sitting on a rat. The rat is the vehicle of Ganesha, and in another hand he's holding a tusk. Right? Elephants have two tusks. So he's holding one of Ganesha's tusks is broken, and he uses it as a pen. So Ganesha also wrote the Mahabharata. Indians worship Ganesha as the god of writing. So Saraswati is the goddess of speech, learning, and Ganesha is the god of learning in the form of writing. So Ganesha. So. So who is Ganesha? Let's now talk about the story of Ganesha, how Ganesha became Ganesha, and then let's see what that means. So, according to the story, one day, Shakti or Parvati and Shiva were there. Shiva goes away to do something. Shakti is alone, and when she's alone, she decides that she wants to go have a bath. So when she's having a bath, what she does is she rubs her body and takes off the mala, the dirt from her body, and she makes a doll out of it. She makes a small doll out of it, and she breathes prana into this doll, and this doll becomes the baby Ganesha. When Ganesha is born, however, he does not have an elephant head. When Ganesha is born, he has a normal human head like us, you and me. So Shakti gives birth to Ganesha when Shiva is not there. So Shiva doesn't participate in the birth of Ganesha, which is why Ganesha is also called Vinayaka, one who is born without a father. In the absence of any father, Vinayaka. So Shakti gives birth to Vinayaka and says, I'm going to have a bath. I'm going away, and when I'm away, you make sure you guard the house. And Vinayaka says, okay, sure, I will guard the house while you are having a bath. Shakti says, cool. And then Shakti goes away. So when Shakti goes to have a bath, Ganesha is guarding the house. He's very vigilant and he makes sure no one comes. And while Ganesha is guarding the house, suddenly, guess who comes back? Shiva. And Shiva says, hey, what's this? Who are you? And Ganesha says, I'm Ganesha. And Shiva says, what are you doing here? Who are you? That's fine, your name is Ganesha, but who are you? Ganesha says, I am Parvati's son. Shiva says, what? I was gone for 2 days. What do you mean you're Parvati's son? Listen, get out of my way. I have to go inside. This is my house, okay? Ganesha says, no way, no way. My mother said that I can't let you in, so I won't let you in. You can't go inside. At this point, Shiva sends his armies. Shiva has a whole army. So Shiva sends his army of Ganas. Gana. Someone who follows Shiva is called Gana, which is why Ganesha is also called Ganesha, the Lord of Ganas, the leader of Ganas, the leader of the people who follow Shiva, Ganesha. So Shiva sends his Ganas, and Ganesha fights all of them, and he defeats all of them. He's a strong warrior, defeats everyone. And then the other gods see this, and the other gods come to fight Ganesha. But Ganesha is the son of Shakti, right? He is the son of Shakti. He is stronger than all the other gods. He defeats all the other gods. At this point of time, Shiva becomes very angry. And Shiva starts dancing and dancing and dancing. And he comes and he cuts off Ganesha's head. And Ganesha falls down and his head rolls away. As soon as Ganesha is dead, guess who comes back? Shakti. And she sees Ganesha's dead body. And she's like, what? What did you do? Shiva is like, this boy was there, I killed him. She's like, you killed my son. Bring him back to life. Shiva is like, what? Parvati is like, you are the god of the whole universe. Of course you can bring him back to life. So Shiva turns to the other gods and he says, go and find the head of the first animal you see. And Vishnu sees that, Vishnu goes away and he sees that Indra's elephant is there. Indra is another god who is supposed to be the king of gods. The word Indra is also connected to the word Indriya. So Indra means king and Indriya means sense organ, like your eye, your nose, your ear, your skin. These are all Indriyas, right? So Indra is the master of the Indriyas. The one who is controlling all the sense organs is Indra. So Indra's elephant, the elephant on which Indra rides, that prana. So Vishnu sees Indra's elephant and he throws his disc and he cuts off the elephant's head. And they bring back the elephant's head and Shiva takes the head and he attaches it to Ganesha's body. And that's how Ganesha, and brings him back to life. And that's how Ganesha becomes Ganesha. That's the story of Ganesha as most Hindus think about it. And we celebrate this on Ganesh Chaturthi. We celebrate his new head, his new life. The question is that, really, why does Ganesha have an elephant's head? What does the elephant head mean? So let's look at the story. So there are two ways of looking at the story. One is the mythological way of looking at the story, wherein you believe everything as it seems. It's a story. There are characters, something happens, and then something bad happens, and then something good happens, which makes everything all right. In the end, everyone is happy. The other way of looking at it is to look at it as a yogic process. Um, so let's turn to that aspect of. Now, in our previous class, we had talked about some things which we are going to need right now. So let's review them. First, so why? Let's first ask the question: who are Ganesha's parents? Huh? If this is Ganesha and he has an elephant head, before we understand what this elephant head is and what it does, we need to understand who Shakti is and who Shiva is. And once we understand this, then we can understand who Ganesha is and why he has an elephant head. Now, in our previous class, I had talked about three terms, three words, which describe the whole world. Three units that make up everything. One was Jiva, one was Shakti, and the third was Shiva. So, Shiva, I said, is pure consciousness. I said that Shiva is pure consciousness that is not limited by an identity, any fixed location, any fixed time. Pure consciousness is that thing which contains everything in the universe within it. And the ability, and so this pure consciousness is Shiva, and the ability of this consciousness to create any kind of limited experience, whether it is the experience of the wall behind me or whether it is the experience of my face. All of these experiences are being created in you through the action of Shakti, who is coming down inside of you as limited prana. So a certain amount, a certain kind of prana comes into you, and it goes to your eye and becomes a certain kind of prana. It goes to your mind, becomes a certain kind of prana. It goes to your ear, becomes a certain kind of prana. So this is why Shakti creates the universe. So if to give another example, we can think of Shiva as clay, as soil, and Shakti as the ability of that clay to be molded into a shape. So this is what a potter does. He digs up the soil and brings it out. So the soil is Shiva, it's the substance of everything. Then he puts water into it and he kneads the clay. He makes it into this malleable mass. And so when you take clay and you put water into it and you knead it, it changes shape. Then you can give it any shape you like. So this power inside the clay to take any shape, that is Shakti. And the end result, when it becomes a pot, when it becomes a cup, when it becomes a bowl, that is Jiva. That is when consciousness has come inside of a particular body and is animating it. So I am alive only because supreme consciousness, pure consciousness, is coming down into this body. Only because Shakti is connecting this body with supreme consciousness. If Shakti decides to stop connecting this body with supreme consciousness, then the prana inside of me will stop flowing. That's when death happens. Anyway, so So the Jiva, the embodied being, think that the consciousness that's inside a body is only there because Shakti, the activity, the power, the energy of consciousness, its ability to do things, makes Jiva alive. Shiva, which we talked about as pure consciousness, is unchanging. Shiva is unchanging because it is pure consciousness. It's full. So it does not seek out after any limited experience. So, for example, when you have had a big meal, you don't feel hungry after that. So, if food comes in front of you, you will not do karma. You will not reach out towards it. If you are full, if you are happy. But when you get hungry, then you have to do karma. Then you have to do action and reach out to the food and eat it. So Shiva is that state of fullness. Shiva is full of the universe. So Shiva does not want anything. Shiva does not change. Shiva does not move. But everything that happens because of Shakti, Shiva's power, the ability inside consciousness. Now, it's important to remember that Shiva and Shakti are not two separate things. Shiva and Shakti is the same thing behaving in two ways, or two aspects of the behavior of the same thing. So think of a flame, a fire. The flame is Shiva, and the heat inside the flame, the ability of the flame to burn something, that is Shakti. So now we understand who Shiva is and who Shakti is. Shakti is the mother of the universe. Shakti is the power, the energy, the prana, the chi that makes any existence possible. And Shiva is the pure consciousness that is always present in any state of existence. So now let's look back at the story. Shiva goes away and Shakti is left alone. Which means that Shiva is in a in a detached state. Now, when we draw Shiva and Shakti and Ganesha, we show according to the story, according to the mythology, Shiva is an ascetic. Shiva is a monk. He lives away from the world. He has renounced. He has given up all material desires, and Shiva only sits on the mountain and he meditates. And Shakti, on the other hand, is the daughter of a king. Now let's go back to our previous class for a second. I talked about the history of Indian philosophy. I said in the Vedic period, you had two choices. In the Vedic period, you could either be a householder, which meant that you had to do fire worship. You had to do ritual for the fire. You had to, through the fire, you made offerings to gods and asked them to make your life happy. Everything you needed in your life should be given to you. So you mostly asked for material welfare. That was the nature of the householder religion. And if you wanted enlightenment, then you had to become an ascetic. Then you had to leave your house, you had to leave your wife, you had to leave your children, you had to leave your property, you had to leave doing things, leave action altogether and go to the jungle, do nothing, sit and meditate, and then achieve nirvana. So in this early stage, nirvana was something different and samsara was something different. They did not come together. You were either here or you were there. You could either enjoy your life or you could have enlightenment, but you could not do the same together. Do the both of them together. However, this changed when we move from the period of yoga as tapas, and we start looking at new practices where you had a new kind of yoga that involved mantra. Mantra and the image, the visual form of a god. So when we look at Ganesha, his mother is a householder. She is the daughter of a king. She is Shakti. So Shakti, in that sense, in relation to Ganesha, represents the fullness of the world, and fullness of the enjoyable things of the world, the beauty of the world. And Shiva is the ascetic. He is the renunciant. He is the monk. He is the yogi. So Shiva is always in meditation, in always dhyana. So Shiva resembles the fullness of nirvana. Vishnu. So while in the old early Vedic civilization, nirvana and samsara, householder religion and ascetic religion, were two different things which did not come together. In the marriage of Shiva and Shakti, in the marriage of the princess and the yogi, we see a coming together of the householder religion and the ascetic religion. Now, this is what Ganesha is here to teach us. Ganesha is here to teach us how to enjoy our lives. The enjoyment of life is depicted by his big stomach. Big stomach. Loves to eat. He's holding a sweet in one hand and he's eating it with his trunk. Like elephants have this trunk, right? So he's using the trunk to eat the sweet. So he loves life. He enjoys all the good things that life has to offer. So which is why also he's holding a pen, because the pen represents artistic creativity. So according to old legend, Vyasa Muni was the one who spoke the Mahabharata, and as Vyasa Muni spoke it, Ganesha wrote it down. So Ganesha is the god of writing as well. So, as I was saying, when the ascetic religion and the Vedic religion come together in the new religion of the Agamas, in the new religion where puja is done, where mantra is used. Now, mantra was also there in the Vedic religion, but Vedic mantra and later Agama mantras are different, because Agama mantras are always connected inside, connected with the pranic energies inside, or should be. A lot of people do Agama practice, a lot of people do puja without knowing how to do it properly. A lot of Indians do it as well. So you must be able to make a yogic connection, a pranic connection with various parts. So gods and goddesses that you see inside temples are just the energy of the various parts of my body. Also the energy of Shakti, and also the supreme energy of Shiva. These are the gods. So they are always, which is why they are in the subtle body. They are in the body of energy. They are in the body of prana. So to understand them, we must take our awareness that way. So let's get back to the question. So we understand that Ganesha has a big stomach, and that big stomach has to do with him wanting to enjoy life. Now let's talk about his head. Let's go back to the story. Why does Shiva cut off his son's head? Why is Shiva so stupid? If Shiva and Shakti are the same thing, then why doesn't Shiva know that Ganesha is his son? Why does Shiva cut off a little boy's head? Such a small boy. And finally, why does he put the elephant head on top? What does the elephant head signify? So let's go back to the story. So Shakti goes away. So this is like when we are, Shakti goes to have a bath and Ganesha is left to guard the house. That's how the story begins. Shiva is away. So Shakti goes away. What does this mean? So first of all, Shakti creates Ganesha using mala. First she makes him using mala, which means dirt from her body. But mala also means ignorance. So ignorance of the fact that I am not just a limited consciousness. I am not just Kaustubh, but I am also everyone else in the world. So we are ignorant of the fact because we identify with our bodies. So she makes him out of the ignorance of limitation. When we become an I, then we are not this. But when we lose the I, then this and I come together. They become one. So Shakti makes Ganesha out of ignorance. Shakti is the mother of all things, but she makes all things possible only by limiting things, limiting everything. So the Shakti creates him and then she goes away. So similarly, our birth is because of Shakti, is because Shakti creates, limits pure consciousness into a small point, and that point identifies with the body. So Shakti creates us, but once this identification with the body is there, then we forget that we are actually living inside Shakti. Then we start thinking we are living inside a body. Then we forget that this is the true nature of our existence. We forget, we don't remember that, we think that this limited body is all that we are. So this is what happens when Shakti goes away. So because Ganesha doesn't realize, so when Shakti goes away, Ganesha doesn't realize who he is. And this is why he cannot recognize Shiva. So this is limited consciousness. Limited consciousness meets supreme consciousness, pure consciousness, and can't recognize it. Just like I and you can't recognize the fact that we are supreme consciousness. We think that we are limited consciousness, that I was born on this day and I will die on this day, and I am doing this and I am doing that, I am experiencing this, I am experiencing that. We always constantly think of ourselves as limited things. So just like we forget that we are always connected to Shiva, Ganesha also forgot that he was connected to Shiva. And that is why Shiva cuts off his head. So Shiva cuts off Ganesha's head to give him knowledge. Cutting off the boy's head is the killing of the limited ego. Killing of the limited ego. And then what does he do? He replaces that cut head with the head of an elephant. The head of an elephant. What does this mean? So to understand what the limited, what Shiva does when he cuts off Ganesha's head, let's look at this chart. This image I sent to the group, chat group. It says in the middle, it says mind is mantra. So this is the state of Shakti. If mind goes up, then you have Shakti. Then you have Shakti as mantra, which reaches pure consciousness. But if the mind goes towards the objects of experience, then mind is entrapped inside body. Then you have the mind inside body. So at the lowest stage is the mind inside body. But the mind inside body can travel up. So what does this mean? It means that every time we have a thought, every time we do an action, we are drawing upon the energy of Shakti. We are taking a small part of the energy of Shakti and we are using it. So we are always connected to Shakti, and through Shakti we are always connected to Shiva. But we don't realize it because our awareness goes from our brain into our eyes or into our nose and out towards the object. From the object, it goes back to our brain. But this is not all. Because from the brain, it goes into pure consciousness. And pure consciousness comes down into the brain. How does this happen? Of course, the answer is very simple. This happens through the process of breathing. So, what does the breath consist of? The breath consists of the inhalation. So, there's the beginning of the inhalation when there's no air inside of me and I start drawing it in. So when I inhaled, what did I do? I drew, my nose was drawing in air, and my brain was drawing in prana. Consciousness, limited consciousness, the energy of consciousness, Shakti, Spanda, Prana Shakti. So when I inhale from the cosmos, from the universe, a small amount of energy comes, goes into my brain, makes my mind alive. From my mind, it goes into my eyes, my nose, my ears, my tongue, my speech, my senses, my hands and my legs, everywhere. And when I exhale, so there's the beginning of inhalation, there's the end of exhalation. Where is the end of exhalation? The end of exhalation is here. When this portion, when prana comes down and fills up your heart, fills up your chest, fills up the middle of your chest. So Shakti has come down and she has given birth to the fullness of the world. That fullness of the world is represented by Ganesha. Here it is full. She's allowing you to do everything. So many things you can do. You can enjoy all the fruits of life. So the end of exhalation, inhalation. This is the point where the inhalation finishes. And from here it gets distributed all across your body. And then when you exhale, so when this prana gets distributed across your body, you can do things. You can do things with your eyes, your mind, your hands. Everything is made possible by this prana. And when you exhale, then prana goes from your chest and it goes out through your head into the cosmic state. The air goes out through your nose, but the prana goes out through your head. That's the difference between prana vayu and prana shakti. Prana shakti is the energy, prana vayu is the air. There are two different things, or let's say two different levels of different things. So what happens? So my breathing is my connection with supreme energy. And when that connection breaks, my breathing stops. That's how I die. So the best way to worship is to worship using the breath. If you worship using the breath, then you can combine all the energy of all your senses, your hands, your feet, your eyes, your ears, your mind, everything you can put together, and you can worship with that. So, what are we worshipping? We are worshipping Shakti. Shakti, the mother who makes everything possible. How do we do it? So, what is happening when you're breathing? So, the breathing is the movement of Shakti. At one end, is Shiva. So, from pure consciousness, Shakti comes down, bringing the possibility of limited things. And then she creates limited things. So Shakti comes down into me, becomes Prana Shakti, gets distributed into various different kinds of functions. That's what inhalation happens. That's when inhalation happens. And when you exhale, then all the different kinds of prana that were there come back into the heart and go back into consciousness. So meditation consists of an awareness of the movement of this energy that is causing the breath. When we start using our intelligence, our mind to study this energy, instead of just using this energy to look at objects, instead of just using the energy to eat, instead of just using the energy to enjoy ourselves, if we try to study what this energy is, if we just observe what happens to our prana between its movement here and here, as I inhale and as I exhale, as I inhale and as I exhale, if we turn our intelligence, awareness to this process, then the limited personality, the limited self, the jiva, begins to dissolve. Begins to dissolve into Shakti. So, in India, the elephant and the lion, both these kingly animals, are used to depict consciousness, pure consciousness. So the Buddha, for example, is also often depicted either as a lion or as an elephant in sculpture. So the elephant head identifies with pure consciousness, and so the reason why Ganesha has an elephant head and a fat body, the fat body indicates that he's enjoying the world. But the elephant head indicates that even when he's enjoying the world, his awareness is not just going in one direction. His awareness is not going in one direction out, but his awareness is also on the connection between his heart and Shiva, pure consciousness that is above your head. Now you can't, it's a part of you that you cannot see with your eyes, but you can feel with your mind. It's a part of you that's beyond your body. So Ganesha is the person who knows that prana travels in two directions. Prana travels down into the body and towards the object, and prana also travels up. So what is this movement of prana? When prana comes inside and fills us up, then it is Ganesha, the fullness of life. And when prana goes out and into pure consciousness, then it is Shiva, pure consciousness, fullness. So Shiva is above and Ganesha is below, and in between is Shakti. So for example, if you look at this image, so So in this image, the yogi who is in the middle is the physical body. But the yogi is completely made up of Shakti. And when he exhales, he goes into Shakti's pure state, non-different state, where Shakti unites with Shiva. Shiva and Shakti are one thing. And when he inhales, it becomes Ganesha. Oops. When he inhales, it becomes Ganesha. The fullness of the world. So Ganesha is that state, that being who is connected with Shakti as well as with the Jiva. So my normal waking consciousness, but my normal waking consciousness in connection with that which is keeping me alive. Once I learn the nature of the energy that is making me alive, that's why the elephant head, the biggest, the strongest thing, the strongest energy inside my body that is filling everything, that's making everything happen, that energy, what happens to it? Where does it go? Where does it come from? Recognizing this. So Ganesha represents the path of mantra, the path of mantra which brings together the physical world and the world of samsara and the world of nirvana. And this bringing together happens through a yoga wherein you don't do anything with your limited self, but you look at how you are alive. So there is no special task, there is no special meditation, but there is the awareness of the movement of prana between these 2 points.